Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today we are here to review the final novel in the entire Shannara Saga by Terry Brooks. It is called The Last Druid, Book 4 in the Fall of Shannara. I have reviewed the first 3 books in this little 4-book series. You can see those reviews on my channel, and then we're going to be talking about the rest of the Shannara Saga, which I've got right here. Some almost 24 books in the Shannara Saga. And this review is it's going to be a little bit of a review of this book, but more so this is going to be me just paying homage to Terry Brooks and the Shannara Saga and what it has meant to me in my life, because this is it. This is the wrap-up, and I just don't want the saga to end. I don't want it to end. I just finished this, tearfully finished this. I hope I can get through this review without shedding a tear, because if you followed my channel at all, you know how much this series means to me. So let's go. Before we review the final book, let's go back to the beginning when, I'm a professional published author now. It was a dream for a long time of mine. And that dream was sparked when I was just about a 12-year-old boy, and I first saw the cover illustration of The Sword of Shannara. I fell in love with the artists, the brothers Hildebrand. I loved their artwork, and I loved what they had painted, and it just drew me into this book, and I eventually spent my own money on the book. This is the first ever book that I ever bought as a kid that I spent my own money on and read for my own enjoyment. And it was a life-transforming event. 80 pages into this book, I knew that I wanted to be a fantasy writer myself. And this book literally changed my life at that moment. Just as a young boy, I grew up in Sevier County, Utah. In Fairbanks, Alaska when I was a young boy, but then when I was in my early teens, we were in Sevier County, Utah. And I'm telling you, folks, Sevier County, Utah, it's like living on the surface of Tatooine. It is a bleak place in the middle of nowhere. In fact, just like Tatooine, if there's a bright spot to the center of the universe, Sevier County, Utah is the furthest place from it. And as a young boy growing up there, I felt that way. I was adopted. I didn't know who my biological parents were. I considered myself like that orphan farm boy bastard, because all of Sevier County is just farming land. And I'm directionless, and a directionless young kid. And then I found this book and read this book, and my life suddenly had purpose. I had a dream to write fantasy novels every bit as good as this one. And it changed my life. The Sword of Shannara literally set me on a course in life where I had a goal to reach, I had a dream to achieve, I had books to enjoy and occupy my time and to fall in love with. And I just gotta say that Terry Brooks, if you ever see this, just know that you changed my life. You changed the young life of a young boy in Sevier County, Utah, who eventually went on to work hard and fulfill his own dreams and write his own fantasy novels because of this. All because of this. I promised I would not cry in this video, and it's going to be hard because this Shannara Saga has meant so much to me over time, and I just don't want it to ever end. And it's hard for me to let go of it, because it's been a part of my life since the beginning. And, a young orphan farm boy like myself, when I picked up this book, and I read about Shay Olmsford, also a young orphan farm boy. The Luke Skywalkers of the world, the Shay Olmsfords, the Rand al'Thors, the orphans without a heritage or a parentage. I related to that. That was me. That was who I was. I was that kid that didn't know who his biological parents were. And I just I felt like I had a destiny. I felt like I was different. I wore that with a badge of honor. I wore that mantle of the orphan farm boy with a badge of honor. And then I started to read this book, and I realized it was about someone just like me, and I was hooked. And it changed my life, changed the direction of my life. And I've got to say, just thank you, Terry Brooks, for, creating something that changed people's lives. Because I'm not the only one. You can ask most professional published fantasy authors what books really changed their life and put them and launched their dreams. And I can guarantee you 90% of them are going to say this book right here. It's not just me. It's not just all about me. It's about a lot of people. This book changed lives. A simple little book about an orphan farm boy who goes on an adventure and does great things and accomplishes great things. Changed so many lives, including mine. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, Mr. Terry Brooks. And every time, I now that I've been published, I've gotten to meet a lot of my heroes, and I've met Terry Brooks a few times, and he has signed all of my books, all of my Shannara books. And I show them off. I show them off every time. I'll just show you that one. Now, this one was also signed by the brothers Hildebrand. I've got a few of them signed by Terry Brooks and Keith Parkinson, one of the other cover illustrators. And, it's just a collection of books that means so much to me. And I didn't want the saga to end. And I started to read the Fall of Shannara, the final 4 books in the saga, and then with the tears in my eyes, and I got to the final book, and I just read it, and it was everything I wanted it to be. And I got to thank Terry Brooks for let's talk about the novel now that we came here to see the review of. I got to thank Terry Brooks for Shay Olmsford letting me reading Shay Olmsford's name in type once again. And Shay Olmsford is a character that comes back in this series here, and just seeing his name in type once again. I was crying. I was literally crying when he showed up in these final books. And there's a lot of characters that show up in these final books, and it's just magnificent that Terry Brooks has rounded this saga out from book 1 to the very final book, and he's given us Shay Olmsford back. Like I said, a character my favorite character in all of literature. And this book, let's talk about this book right here. Again, we review the covers because I love illustration and I love graphic design. So we always talk about the covers first. And this is a great cover. Del Rey did a good job of getting the graphic design all super spiffy and snazzy for these. Made them look real great on the shelf together. So I love the covers of this series, this 4-book series, as I love the covers of all the other Shannara books that we have here. And great job. Not only that, but there's other surprises in here. We get this great photo in the inside flap of all of the Shannara books and their covers. What a great send-off. What a great idea to do that for us. Oh, absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And then on this part of the cover, we get this wonderful letter from Terry Brooks to the readers. And let me read it. It says, "To my readers, those who started out with me," I would be one of those. In the mid-1980s, the Sword of Shannara, I was there. "For my readers, those who started out with me, those who climbed aboard along the way, and those who have stayed to the very end, and especially those who make up the Shannara community. There are no words to express adequately how much you have given me." Signed, Terry Brooks. Well, let me say, there are no words to express how much you have given the world, Terry Brooks. With your Shannara Saga, it is probably, after Lord of the Rings, I would say, the most important fantasy saga ever written. just because it has inspired so many like me. So thank you. Thank you. The Fall of Shannara. Again, like I said, Shay Olmsford's in it. I mean, Shay Olmsford's in the final series. Still can't get over the fact that I was reading Shay's name once again in type. Not only that, but we read a lot of the characters we followed are referenced. Some of them show up. It's just great. It's a great wrap up to the series. I'm not going to get into the details of it. I am just going to tell you, people, I can't let it go. I mean, I can't let the Shannara novels go. I don't want the story to end. I want there to be more and more and more Shannara novels every other year. Like, I've been buying these things ever since I was a child, and I just can't seem to wrap my head around the fact that the saga is ended. But, you know, all great things must come to an end, and this has, and it's a glorious end, and it's a perfect ending. It's a great ending. The Last Druid of Shannara, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, because the entire saga means so much to me. All of these books, they're part of my youth. They're part of who I am. Us orphan farm boys with a destiny. We all got to stick together. Me, Shay Olmsford, Luke Skywalker. By God, we can all conquer the world. We can all conquer the world. So anyway, I don't know what else to say. I will turn this off, and before I really start to cry, and just say, the Shannara Saga, man, it's over, done with, and the world is a better place because it exists.